Hi guys, now we are going to discuss an important topic in the backend, whether you are doing in a Mon stack or in a Spring Boot. So the token system is very important. Or I'll explain what is token and what is session. So first of all, the title of this video is about JWT, JSON Web Token. So I will explain what is this JSON Web Token and all the stuff, what is going on behind the scene. So, but before that, I want to ask you a question. So the question is, if I change my role from user to admin inside this token, can I become admin? So what the token I'm talking about? So let us go to the official website JSON Web Token JWT. So the JWT token, first of all we need to talk about the token. So token is nothing but it's a kind of string you can see over here. So this string contains three parts. The orange part you can see over here, and the blue part from here to here you can see over here, and finally the green part from here. These three parts separated by two dots you can see over here. So what is each part representing? So the first part represents the header. Header is nothing but the data which has this, what kind of the thing that you are, it's a JWT token or what is that, and the information is about the algorithm. You can see all the algorithms that possible in the token that we can able to have. And the second and foremost important thing is that this purple one is data, or we can call this as the payload. So the payload contains the data like subject, name, admin, IAT, all the stuff that you want. So this JWT token is very important. I'll explain this importance, okay? So the data is very important, and finally we have the signature, the green part that you are seeing, right? So I hope you understood what is the JWT token. JWT token will look like this, and it contains three parts: header, payload, and JWT signature. How the flow works? First of all, you need to understand how the flow works. Let's say this is the front end, and let's say this is the back end. Let's say user will be going to request you, right? This is the actual flow. So actually what data can user can ask? So this is the data that user can ask. User can view their profile. User can add, let's say I am taking an example of e-commerce site. So user can view products, user can add address. So these are the things that user can do. So you are querying from, this is known as request. So out of 100 users, who is sending you request, for whom you are sending the request? You don't know that, right? You don't know that. So user can able to view profile, but which user? Out of 100 users, you don't know which user you are, which user is asking the request, and for which user you are sending the data that they want. So for that purpose, you don't know. So I hope you understood how the request and response end. So this is this is not general data. This is the security, like more sensitive data, or the user centric data. The general data like get products, we have some routes like /get products. This is the general thing. Anyone can get products, but anyone cannot post the or anyone cannot upload their data in our backend, right? In our e-commerce website, only admins can add their products to our database or backend. So for that reason, we have something like in this fashion. So what is this? So this is generally the payload data. If you observe, I have already said you the JWT token of three things. So the first one is header dot payload dot signature. So header is just saying about the data that you are encrypting and all the stuff. It's a JWT token. The data it will be containing in the header. In the payload, the user information like the user ID which is which is requesting to the backend. Okay, let's say user ID is 25. Then we can understand. Okay, the user ID, the user which has user ID 25 is requesting for his data. So we can return his data only from the backend. So that's the thing that we are able, that is the main use of this payload. And signature is nothing but like anyone, see, this is the public data. Anyone can come and decode this header and payload. So but they cannot decode this signature, right? If they send, anyone can send data, like anyone can send the request, but they will get only response when the signature matches, right? So here user is the role is user. So as the role is user, based on this user role only, we create the signature. If the role is the admin, we do have another signature for that. So here anyone suppose can change here role from user to admin. But if they send the request, we have for the user ID 25, we have the user role, we have some signature. But someone changes, like hacker changes this user to admin, but we have the for user ID 25, we have the signature for user, not for the admin. So for that reason, this backend is going to not authenticate the signature, so that request will be failed. So yeah, you can check over here. So if I can change my role from user to admin inside this token, can I become admin? No, absolutely no. So no, because the JWT isn't protected by hiding data, it's protected by cryptography. As I said before, so this signature is protected by a cryptography like SHA 256, SHA-256. This kind of algorithms were used to encrypt this data. But this header and payload is not protected, so it is a public data. Anyone can come and see your data. So next we will understand how the JWT flows happens. So first of all, user logins. Okay, let's say a user comes and logins. So our database creates a session. This is, I am talking about the olden days. So I am actually in the olden days, this is the thing that happens. So you need to know about this. This is not the good thing that is going on here. So server creates a session. So it's a huge burden that the server is storing all the sessions for all the users. Let's say we have 1 million users. So for that 1 million users, the server has to store 1 million sessions. So this is the basic thing about the session. So I hope I have clear what is meant by session. So this is session, not token. So JWT is a token, that's a separate system. So as this session thing is failed in the market, we have introduced the stateless authentication, which is the user authentication or client side authentication. So in this, what happens, like here we use JWT tokens. We use JWT tokens, or simply we can call this token-based authentication, right? Or stateless authentication. Here user will log in. So server creates a token. Here server creates a session in his session, but here server create a token. So client stores, we store the token in our browser, like backend, like cookies, like that we can store in our browsers, right? So server need not to store the data in the memory. Server need not to remember us. So when server don't store any data, that's all I'm trying to say about. So here is the complete flow of how that works. Login, so it verifies password, creates a header, creates a payload, creates a signature, right? So when user for the first time user created, so for that it will create a token, combine all three parts, return JWT to the browser front end, right? So it will return browser. So in the server, not in the server, in our front end only, in the UI, in the back end of the UI only, in the browser only, we need to store this token. So whenever, like let's say we have some backend over here. So just now that you have created an account. So after creating an account, so this JWT token has been, let's say you have sent your data, all the stuff that you have sent. So the backend store all the data, and the backend sends JWT token. Okay, like you want to see the cart. So for that purpose, you just not only the request, with the request you need to send the token also as well. So this, when you send both, so that user number is 5, is requesting data with this token. So our backend will be going to react and take the data from the database. So for the card, it will be going to return us the products in the card. So this is how the complete process will be happening in the backend. I hope you understood. Now the next thing that I want to say is what happens on every request. So on every request, this is the kind of thing that we write in the code, that authorization is with the request also we are sending token. So this is the thing that I am saying about. This is known as authorization. You can see the token that we have already passed to the front end. Front end responsibly has to send the token every time with it. Authorization bearer means the person who holds the JWT token. Let's say I am the user, I am holding the token. So if the role is user, so if you change to role to admin, it will not work. That I am saying about. So generally how you will, it's a code part, okay, code part, how you will create a token and how you will decode back, right? So for here, see, you can see here the backend will create a token and it will send to front end, and here the backend will evaluate this token and it will send the response. So it's the backend part. So how it has to create the token and it has to evaluate the token. So that's the same thing that I written over here. It's the creation of the token, it's the evaluation of the token. So const token is equals to JWT sign. So we need to sign three parts, right, that I already said. So the first one is we need to have the payload. You can see the payload over here. So user ID and role, we are here. Okay, user ID is 1 and the user is the role is user. And we are also having the JWT secret from our environment file, and we are setting out the expiry date. Within 1 hour this token will be expired, and how the backend will decode all the stuff, whether the coming request is genuine or whether coming token is genuine or not. So we say const decode is equals to JWT dot verify. So verify comma token means token comma process.env dot JWT token, that we already stored the secret in our backend env file, right? So these are the two steps that we need to perform all the time. We need to create the token and we need to verify the token. So I hope you understood. So the now main differences that I wanted to discuss here about feature, session, cookie and the local storage. So first of all you need to understand stores where. The session stores the things in the server, means in the backend it will store. So cookies, whereas cookies it will store in the browser. So local storage also will be stored in the browser, and we have to send that auto set. So auto set is for session we are going to send via cookies, and cookies we are just sending directly, and in the local storage auto send will not be done. And can store JWT. In the session we cannot store the JWT, but in the cookie we can store the JWT token. In the local storage also we can store the JWT token. So most of the times we used to store the JWT tokens in the cookies, so it is more secure. So JavaScript can read. So can JavaScript read the session? So JavaScript can depends. It depends on. So no HTTP only. So we cannot read these cookies. So that's why cookies is more secure than sessions and local storage. So local storage can be directly read with the help of the JavaScript. So which is more secure. So as we are using HTTP, so here cookies is more secure, and session plus HTTP cookie only. Here local storage is very less secure. So you have heard about the JWT. Up to now I have explained you what is the JWT. Now you need to understand the what is the JWT. Or let's say you are using in the Spring Boot, right? So if you want to use this JWT token in the Moon stack, we have got a library called JSON Web Token. So this is the library that we are getting in the Moon stack to use this JWT library. And in the Spring Boot we have got a library called JWT. With the help of this library, the full form of this is Java JWT. Sign in, like you can see all the methods over here in the Moon stack. We have all these methods. So we have this package called JSON Web Token, and we have this JWT library in the Spring Boot, and we have all these methods. So this is JWT.sign. Already we have seen that. So this is for creating of the JWT token. In the Spring Boot we do JWTTS.builder. This is to create a token. So JWT.verify. This is to decode that token from the backend. And in the Spring Boot we do parse signed claims. So this is for decoding the JWT token. And we use the express middleware in the Moon stack, and we use Spring security layers for the JWT layers, right? So I hope you understood all these differences, and I hope you understood what is exactly meant by JWT. I hope even though I did not show you practical implementation, but the main two functions here I wrote here. So I hope you understood all these two functions. One is to create, one is to decode. So I hope you understood what is JWT. So thanks for watching up to now. I hope you like this video. Please do like, share, subscribe for this video.